BGMC. The biblical truth lives here.
The ancient Hebrew scriptures foretold of the Anointed One, Yeshua HaMashiach. The Messiah Yeshua came to call the people back to the truth of His word and to follow that righteous path. Yeshua then called Jewish men to be His disciples, and after His death and resurrection, those Jewish men told the world about the Jewish Messiah. Now, after 2,000 years, Beth Goyim Messianic Congregation has that same calling of those Jewish men, telling all people, both Jew and Gentile, about the proper ancient path, teaching the Route 66 King's Highway from Genesis through to Revelation, and how you need and can get back to the proper roots of the faith and a closer walk with God. Now, let's hear the message.
So right here it says, I have it right here. You can follow me in the Hebrew reading. Okay. First of all, I want to say that there is multiple versions, and that's because the remember that the New Testament, what we call the Brit Hadashah, we have it in the Greek. Okay, so we don't have the original in the Hebrew, but why I have it here in the Hebrew? It wasn't me translating the Greek to the Hebrew. Okay, remember they passed years, and I'm 100% sure, because remember that the language of the Hebrew people is the Hebrew. Okay. And especially even like an American Jewish people speak English in the street, but in the synagogue the language is the Hebrew. So when you read and you pray, always in the synagogue it's going to be Hebrew for prayer. And that's one of the proof. Besides, we have a lot of proof in the Brit Hadashah that the New Testament was in Hebrew. One of the proof is that for prayer, officially for the Jewish people, the Hebrew is the official language. Even if you speak English, even if you speak Spanish, Hebrew is the official language to the synagogue to prayer and for Jewish people to pray. Yes, Adriana, I have a hand up.
Rabbi, you mentioned that people speak, English in the streets, and in the synagogue they speak Hebrew. I have a question in regards to that. And you probably mentioned it already. Forgive me, I don't remember. I learned a few years ago that the Hebrew the people speak out there in the streets in Israel is different than the Hebrew than is the people speak in the synagogues. It's like the Hebrew, I forgot, like secular Hebrew, and the other one is like Holy Hebrew, I guess. I don't know.
Like biblical Hebrew. And well, to speak a little bit about that, the Hebrew language, you can see and you can see it literally, the how change from the Torah to the prophet. You can see the different expressions. If you know how to read the Hebrew, obviously, you can see the change from the Torah is using an expression, any certain like change expressions by the time of David, it changed. And then by the time of Ezra, changed already also. So you can call, I don't like to use this word evolution, but you can see the evolution of the Hebrew language during the time, in that time of period, during the Tanakh, the whole Tanakh. I mean, the whole Tanakh is the whole Bible, but the whole from the Torah and the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim, you can see the expression. So it's a language. The language changed, and like for example, the King James version and the New King James change. Um, the for the Latin people, the Reina Valera at the beginning, 1600s, changed the expression, and it's not the same Spanish that we read in the new version of the Bible. So it's exactly like what happened with with the Tanakh, that at the beginning of the Torah, there's a certain expression that people not use anymore by the time of David, and by the time of Ezra, there's expressions that is not using that means the same thing the time of David, but different expression in Ezra and in Maya and because remember we went in captivity in Babylon, so there's certain things that we use, certain expressions that we add, um, and it keeps moving, keeps changing forms. By the time of Yeshua, um, and this is pretty much the way that we know. We don't have the, as I say, the Brit Hadashah in the Hebrew, but we can feel the way that it was, the expression that it was using, because the Mishnah, it has that certain expression is started by the time of Yeshua. So it's interesting because I have two versions here of the Tefilat Hatalmidim, or the Avinu, the way that we know the Our Father. Our Father is Av, Av is Father, and Avinu, this suffix right here, nu, is us. Okay, the suffix nu it comes from anachnu, and anachnu is we or us. So every time that you see nu, pretty much talking about us or for us or our thing. So Avinu, our Father. Okay, because Av is Father and Avinu, our Father. That's a way. That's one of the way to say the prayer, because that's the way that we know it, our Father prayer. But right here, Tefilat, Tefilat is prayer. Tefilat Ha Talmidim, and a lot of people pretty much doesn't know that this prayer is called like that, Tefilat Ha Talmidim, because it says it's Yeshua teaching the students how to pray. So it's a student of the prayer. It's the prayer of the student. Yeah, the prayer of the student. I say it wrong. Um, so this is how Yeshua tells the disciples, the Talmidim, the Talmid. You can see it right here, Talmidim, teaching how teaching them how to pray. And this is the question that they made, how we can pray. And if you can follow me it's in Matthew 6, um, Matthew 6, verse 9 is where I find this. And it's also in Luke. But as I mentioned that there's different versions. There's two guys from the 1800s, that they um, and this version I put it bigger here. Let me say this first, because he was a Jewish guy that converted to Christianity. So pretty much this is one of the first, not first, but one of the Messianic Jews in the 1800s. I put it right here just for you guys to see his name, and you can search in the Jewish Encyclopedia his name, Isaac Salkinson. And Salkinson, he convert. He was Russian, but he convert and to Christianity. back then in the 1800s. But his story is that he was trying to come to the U to America, to the U.S. back then, to study in a yeshiva. So he was trying to do his rabbinical studies to became a rabbi, and then once he landed in London, he met some missionaries, and he converted to Christianity. But he is one of the guys that translate even Shakespeare in the Hebrew language. So he was working translating secular books to the Hebrew. Back then, it was like a secret stuff because the Jewish people don't want people read other stuff. But he was like doing that circular job translating, and secular Jews reading other books. Jews love read, and then they were reading all those type of in Hebrew. So remember that date. Remember that 1800s. Right? Why? Because people think that the language of Hebrew start in 1948, back to when Israel was reborn. But the language was already used. That the Hebrew never died. People say, "Well, it's a dead language because it wasn't used like as a regular in a country," but it always was the language of the synagogue, and always was the language of the Jewish people. The kids learn Hebrew, but they don't use it as a regular language. So of course it was like a kind of weird um, try to speak Hebrew between each other back then. They understand if you speak. There are certain words they have to use regular language. Like, for example, if they say something in Hebrew and they say, "Oh, you can eat that ice cream," he gotta say ice cream in English or whatever language he was saying, because it wasn't a word in Hebrew that it means ice cream. So he was like, it's like for English, it's like for Latin people, Spanglish, that we mix and we use Spanish, English together, mix, and we understand each other. Even that an American say that's not English, but that's English. For us, it's English, right? So you can mix. Pretty much, it's like a Puerto Rican thing, right, guys? Like Spanglish, it's like regular. So, um, so that's exactly what happening. So I want you to think about that, because in the 1800s, some guy with that name, Isaac Salkinson, Jewish that convert to Christianity, he, and I say convert to Christianity, but pretty much this guy was one of the first of the 1800 Messianic Jews, because he was a Jew and that he believed in the Messiah. That's something big. Um, okay, and he helps to translate. He was this version that I have right here. He translated the whole New Testament back to the, and what he used. I like his version because he used because he was a Jew already trained to be a rabbi. He translated the New Testament in the with a language from the Mishnaic language. So he knows the Mishnah. He know the Mishnah was but it was written down by the time of Yeshua. So he said, well, if the Mishnah was back in the time of Yeshua, then those expressions are the one most useful for the New Testament, because it's the same period. So it makes sense, right? So if he did that, I was like, wow, that version is one of the best versions. But we got another version as well. Let me cough right here because the emotion. No, but okay, let's go back. Let's read it, because if not, I'm going to be right here and then I'm not going to be able to read it. And so let's read, everybody. Okay, right here it says, "Ve'atem and you guys, okay? So ve'atem, if you follow the translation in your the verse 9, Matthew 6:9. So ve'atem ko ti tefilalu. And then it says right here, this is where it starts the whole prayer. So right here, pretty much you say, but you guys go to pray like this. And it says prayer because right here it says te. It says same root of tefillah. Tid palelu. Tid palelu is like in the future you will pray like this. It says Avinu sheva shamayim yitkadash shemecha tavo malchutecha ye'aseh רצונך בארץ כאשר נעשה בשמיים. תן לנו היום לחם חוקנו וסלח לנו את אשמתנו כאשר סולחים אנחנו לאשר אשמו לנו. ואל הביאנו לידי מסע כי אם הצלילנו מן הרע כי לך הממלכה והגבורה והתפארת לעולמי עולמים. Amen. So this prayer is pretty much the same in the other versions, but it changed certain words. For example, in this line right here, in this line we can see the change. When it says יעשה רצונך בארץ כאשר נעשה בשמיים, and you can see the word aretz, right? And ba, this prefix right here. And I probably gotta take time.
Rabbi, which line are you talking
Say it
about?
again?
Which line are you talking about?
This line changed in the other versions, and I have the version down in the line. But the point is that they're using a construction pretty much, and I gotta show you guys this one. Down here is the other one, the other version, and it says Avinu shebashamayim yitkadash shmecha tavo malchutecha יעשה רצונך כאשר בשמיים גם בארץ. And here you guys already, if you guys can see the difference. I know that we're reading and doesn't look, not even, we don't feel it if we don't put it one next to the other. But it mentioned added after the רצונך. And then it mentioned Shaman at the end.
2 minutes.
Right here it mentioned Bashamayim.
2 minutes.
It mentioned Bashamayim Gam Aretz. Right here, if you pay attention for this line right here, Retzoncha and Kasher, right? So right here, Retzoncha Ba'aretz. And you can see the aretz is at the end of the line, in the line at the bottom. Okay. I want to see if I can do this. Let me see if I can get my pencil. 1 second. Pretty much we can rush. I'm coming next week pretty much with the same. So we can take time to take the roots of each letter or each word and then to see it with details. Okay. So, but all of it is right here. And also right here. So you can see it's not on the place that on the first version. Okay. And also Bashamayim is right here. But Bashamayim is before in this version. Okay. And there's other versions. Even if I check I was checking the other another version in Bible Bible Gateway, and the Gateway they have another version different. So imagine that. So, but the purpose of this is to learn, and I like this version as I say because who was the translator. This version is also good.
Time, please.
A lot of people got this, but you can search this name, Frank Delict is his name. Search for his biography. He also from the 1800 Christian Hebraist, and he made this version, and a lot of congregation follow his versions. Okay, so these two names you can search. Perfect Story. I'm gonna put a link in the chat.
Shalom, this is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman. I would personally like to thank you for tuning in to the Remnant's Call each and every week. You can listen to the full message on our website, Bgmctv.org. If you have drawn closer to the King of Kings, learned more about Him today, we are blessed. If you are blessed by these messages, please consider a donation to our ministry. You can go to our website, Bgmctv.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org, and click on the donate button. You do not have to have a PayPal account to donate. All you need is a debit card. Once again, thank you very much for listening to The Remnant's Call.
If you have not taken your first steps to be born again, just ask God's help. Remember, it's His loving grace that has come to find you. No one is worthy or able to reach God, but God can reach us, and He's reaching out to you now. Just open your heart and let Him in. His arms are open, and the blessing of salvation and eternal life are waiting for you. Don't let it wait any longer.
Ya Adonai, Panavolecha, Vikuneka, Yisa Adonai, Panavolecha, Vayatsem Lecha, Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift His face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you and give you His shalom. Shalom, my name is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman, and I invite you to come to visit our congregation. If you are in the tri-state area, come out and visit with us on Shabbat. We are a congregation of Jews and Gentiles, living as one in the Messiah Yeshua. BGMC is a place of true worship. The focus never wanders from the Hebraic roots of our faith. Beth Goyim is rooted in the Word of God from Bereshit through to the book of Revelation. Messiah's strong words against man-made tradition are carefully recorded in Matthew 7. That is the reason we only follow the straight-up instructions found in Scripture. Truly, the way, the truth, and the life. If you're looking for a deeper walk with Adonai, come out for our Tuesday evening Bible study called Messianic Torah Time. Come, spend the day with us on any Shabbat. We start at 11 a.m. with the sound of the ancient Hebrew shofar. Next, we offer our King praise and worship in English, Hebrew, and Spanish. After worship, we review the headlines in the previous week's news from around the globe, especially news from the Holy Land, Israel. We don't just list the news headlines as current events, but we comb through the scriptures, searching for clues to understand what they mean and then to help pinpoint prophetically our current position on Adonai's clock. After digesting all that modern information, we leave the world behind as we journey with our Adonai deep into his eternal word, not with just 1 or 2 scriptures, but usually 7 or more scriptures. The spiritual nourishment and the richness of his kingdom become accessible to the ones who share this special time and seek them out. The day does not end there. Because Shabbat is so special to him, there is always so much more that our King desires to share. So instead of separating and leaving, we stay together as a family for potluck lunch and an afternoon study of our King's Word. We close the Shabbat together with the reading of the new week's parashah. That's the Torah portion. Even after those blessings, many of us just can't get enough. So the members bring prepared homemade foods to share while we all enjoy an uplifting movie together. If all that information is not quite enough, you can check out our website where you will find over 200 video teachings and biblical holy day studies. Under Messianic Torah Time, the Hebrew Roots button, you'll discover free studies on many, many different topics, including PowerPoint slide presentations. If Beth Goyim sounds like a place you'd love to visit, but you live outside the tri-state area, there is still a way to connect with us. We stream live on the internet on Tuesday, Thursday, and Shabbat. The website is www.bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org. Our phone number is 973-338-7800 or 978-2-YESHUA. That's 978, the number 2, Yeshua. Shalom.